Hello guys, welcome to Hankins Custom Rifles. I'm Jeff Hankins. You guys know I usually do videos on rifles, but today we're going to do a video on skinning this here deer that my nephew's wife just killed over there on the farm. Now it ain't much of a deer, but it's her very first one, so she decided that's what she wanted to shoot. What do we got here? 9 points?
9 points.
Got a little 9-pointer. Now I saw this deer day before yesterday in the exact same spot that she killed it this afternoon. What time was it when you shot it?
Yeah, about 5:30.
Almost dark?
Almost dark.
Almost dark. He come out in the field and just kind of ate a little bit of grass, walked around a little bit. I let him go, but the next guy that saw him didn't. So now here it is. It's hanging up in my garage, and we're going to skin this thing out. I'm going to do a quick skin on it. And I know most of you guys know how to skin a deer, but there's been some questions going around lately about caping out a deer head. How you cape out a deer head? Well, I'm going to show you, because before I became a rifle builder, I was a taxidermist. I've mounted more deer heads than I care to speak of, and I really don't ever want to mount another one. So I take my deer heads now to a guy over in Indiana, and he's about a 100-mile drive one way, and we don't want to make more than one trip. So what we're going to do is we're going to skin this head out. I'm going to cape it completely out so we can wad the skin up in a garbage bag, put it in the deep freezer, and you don't have to put the horns in the freezer. Now this here deer, you could probably put it in your kitchen freezer and it would fit. But the kind of deer I kill, they won't even fit in a deep freezer. You couldn't close the lid. So I always cape mine out before I take it to the taxidermist. You want to look up there on the wall, that's just a few of the deer heads that I've mounted over the years. Every one of those deer was killed on the exact same farm, and I'm going to say that every one of them was killed within 100 yards of each other. I hunt the same hillside. I've been hunting it since about 1983. And we've killed a lot of good deer off that farm. That big one there in the middle scored 186. That was the biggest deer killed in the state of Kentucky in 1994. It made the record books. It made the magazines. That was a monster, 1994. 186 Boone and Crockett's. I got a couple 130s up there. And I've got a 166 that's in the office with 2 more nice bucks that's in the office there. Those 3 deer I took to the taxidermist that's over in Indiana that I'm using now. So we're going to go ahead and skin this one out. And I'll show you guys how to cape out these heads. So that if you run into the same problem I run into, you can cape it out, throw it in the freezer. You can take it to the taxidermist next week or next month. It won't really matter. And then you don't have this great big old head looking up at you. Your wife or your girlfriend hollering at you to get that deer head out of the freezer because she don't have any room for hamburgers. So we'll skin this thing out. So what'd you shoot it with?
7 mag.
7mm Magnum?
7mm mag.
Did it run?
Not very far.
Well, looks like you put a pretty good shot on it. From what I can see in here, looks like it went right through the heart, didn't it?
Yep. Hard shot.
Hard shot. Alright, well, let's get this knife here, and we'll start skinning this deer down. Shouldn't take us too long to get the skin off. You gonna take the meat home with you?
Yeah, I'll take it home.
Yeah. You did a good job of field dressing it in the dark, which is usually dark when you field dress one of these things.
Stand on the ground.
Stand on the ground. Yeah, we don't care about none of this here skin. We're just gonna cut it up. All we're going to care about is the cape. Yeah, this here was a young deer. It's his first rack. He wouldn't have any scent glands on it. It's been pretty slow the last couple of days. We didn't see very many deer. I spent quite a few hours in the woods. I didn't see much. So I gave up on deer hunting, decided to come home, build a couple rifles. Now I'm in here skinning one. They're not really too hard to skin out. Just keep your fingers out of the way if you got a good sharp knife, because you cut a whole lot easier than this deer skin does. I just like to cut around the legs. And normally I'd hang this deer up with a gambrel, but it's over to the other farm. And he didn't bring it back with him because he didn't know it was over there. But at least we are in a nice garage. We're not outside in the wind. It's supposed to get really cold too tomorrow. Deer might start moving a little better. Let's see here. He's soaking wet. What did he do? Run in the creek?
He did, he went into the creek.
Once you get something to hold on to there, you can start pulling it down a little bit. It makes it come off a lot easier. Let's see what we got here. Hold that leg. Oh man.
Yeah.
You get back there to that tailbone, just find you a knuckle joint and just cut on through it. That tail off there. All right, hold that. Thank you. Yeah, there's a big old hole. Okay, once you've got that skin down about that far right there, hold that leg, Jason. Pull these apart. Give them a good pull. Alright, that's good. You want to take your knife and get around here where you can see what's going on. Take your knife, stick it into this leg right here. Just go underneath the skin. And go all the way up this leg, straight up, all the way up into the chest part of the skin. Cut that completely in two right there. That allows you to get the skin off of that front leg. Now do the other side the same way. So you can start down here and dig into it. There's no meat here to worry about cutting. All there is a ligament. And just keep your knife blade in there about 1/4 of an inch deep or so. And just cut that right up all the way through. And you can bring it the rest of the way down. Come here, hold this. There ain't hardly any meat on these front legs here to speak of. We grind it up and make dog food out of it. And Lapoo is a happy camper when he gets to eat supper. Down about there. Just cut that off. Now you don't want to cut this skin here, if at all possible, because if you cut a hole in it, taxidermists have to sew it up. But you want to keep this brisket area here intact. He's going to need about this much of it. So, depending on how big of a buck you got and how much shoulder you want to show, to how much of that skin he'll need. On this one here, probably won't need a whole lot of it, but it'll still be a shoulder mount, so there'll be some brisket showing. Okay, we got that off, so now you just got to work this down around the neck. And the farther up the neck you go, the harder it is to skin. It gets tougher up in there. You get a great big old buck that's old, been rubbing trees for a month before you killed him. He's tough as nails up in there. Try to get all the meat off the skin if possible, but if you leave a little bit on there, it ain't no big deal. The taxidermist will get that right off. He's got a fleshing machine. He can cut that whole skin, that old meat right off. Pull that skin up over his head now, so it can hang down. And you just want to keep working it down as far as you can. A little bit of time, go all the way around, come back. You cut a little meat, that ain't nothing to worry about. Turn him a little bit, get under this neck here. You'll cut more holes in the skin with a dull knife than you will a sharp knife. Because a dull knife, you're sitting there hacking and sawing away trying to get it to cut. With a sharp knife, well, you put it there, it's going to cut. So just don't put it anywhere you don't want to hold. And the farther up you get it, like I said, the harder it gets to cut it. And you're going to have to leave a little bit of meat, usually, on the skin going around this neck. When you're caping it out like this for a taxidermy mount, if you wasn't going to cape it out, you can just split that skin all the way up the back end of him and pull it off that way. And it'll come right off then. A lot easier. Alright, we're down just about as far as I want to go. I'm going to turn him around a little bit. I'm going to get just a little more under here and we're going to cut his head off. Alright, that's about as far as I want to go. Here's the butt of his ear. We need a little bit of neck, get a measurement off of him tomorrow before we keep him out, because you have to take the measurements, or you should anyway, and then you can just tell the taxidermist what it measures. Now I'm just going to work through here until I hit the neck bone. Turn my knife around backwards and come through. Over on this side, do the same thing. Work into the neck bone. Now you can get a saw and cut it off. Makes it a lot harder, I think. But if you just cut all the meat off, you take that head and just twist it a couple turns, and there it is, off. So I left just enough neck there. You got to take a measurement around the base of its ears there, around its neck. I left just enough meat in there to give us a decent measurement. And there it is, skinned out, ready to go onto the table. And I'll keep that out for you guys.